following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. Welcome into a Hump Day edition of Main Street Sports. Today on the program, our weekly Wednesday visit with the lovely Heather Williams out of Bristol, WCYB-TV, talk a little NASCAR. That's coming out of Darlington. Also, we'll be joined by Wes Rucker, 24/7 Sports out of Knoxville. Daily Braves update. Today it says gripes. Can't imagine what that's about. Also, college football discussion. All that pesky NIL and SEC scheduling. Now you're talking. All that coming ahead on Main Street Sports today. We toss you over across the room to our good friends, the Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao. Happy Hump Day, gentlemen.
Good luck picking me up to toss me anywhere.
Well, if we can't pick you up.
We may all be in trouble.
Yeah.
Starting off with a daily dinger. There we go. That's how it's going to be today.
Setting the tone.
Said it
How
early.
it's going to be today.
Yeah, it's going to be a great day. I am looking forward to today's exciting events because we have two great guests and the wildest and weirdest news from across the world coming your way. Because I have procured several really fun stories for that.
Several wild and wacky.
Wild and wacky stories.
They're both, right?
They are both wild and wacky. It's not wild or wacky. Although I guess
Country and Western.
we got both types of music here. Country and Western. That's right. Hope you guys are ready to stick around with us. Our opening tee.
I got first tee, but opening would
First
work.
tee.
First tee.
That's it.
First tee is what I put on there.
That's
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
That's
you'll
fair.
see on the graphic.
I was trying to think. I was
Yeah.
like, I can't.
Yeah, we haven't done golf, maybe ever as the opening, but first tee.
Right. And so NCAA Division I women's golf regional
In my backyard.
is literally in
Literally.
Mo's backyard. Matter of fact, they have to hit it over Mo's house to get to the back nine. No,
It's pretty
seriously,
close.
it is really close. And so at the Vanderbilt Legends
And yet
Club,
I didn't know it
and-
was there until yesterday.
The only reason I knew is because I saw an update of Summertown's Kaylee Campbell, who finished day one 38th overall for the Austin P. Governors.
Governess.
So
What was she, 3 over?
she was 3 over after day one. I have yet to find a scorecard
Today?
for today or
Well, NCAA going NCAA, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
So I don't know where she sits currently or
Freshman.
that's correct. But Vanderbilt does lead in the event. They were 7 under after yesterday, leading Alabama, who was 2 under. And so there you go.
Take her down.
Well, I mean, it is their home.
Yeah, Vanderbilt Legends
Yeah.
is where they're playing, which is right off of, if you're familiar with Franklin at all, it's right off McHatcher Bypass and Franklin Road.
You can't just let them have it that they're good. He goes, well, it is their home course.
Well, I mean, that's okay.
Well, it is.
They
that's
should
true.
they should be doing what they're doing, but they're
Show me the lies, Mo says.
they are certainly making their presence felt. No question there.
Announcing it with authority, maybe.
There you go.
They are
On the first tee
so
with the driver. Let the big dog eat.
you
probably.
I'm
So,
trying them all. I'll give myself one.
all right.
Carry on.
That's until we can find an
update.
scorecard. That's all I've got. But I did want to mention that it was happening. Actually, Mo wanted to mention it was happening, and I did not disagree. So here we are mentioning that it is happening.
As long as we are mentioning things along the anchor down vein,
Huh? Yeah.
How about Enrique Bradfield Jr. stealing home last night to tie their game with Indiana State that they had trailed earlier, and sending it into extra innings before they walked it off with a Spencer Jones base hit against Indiana State.
So I'm glad that Vanderbilt won, but I certainly wouldn't have been upset at the tweets toward a certain Vanderbilt beat writer had they not won a midweek game.
By the way, I found out today that it was Vanderbilt that allowed Tennessee to clinch the SEC East
By beating Georgia?
by beating Georgia. Yes, Tennessee could not have done that without Vanderbilt.
Well, they could not have done it last weekend.
Yeah, they could have done it.
They'd have done it.
Semantics,
eventually.
man. It's good. I'm just saying, Vandy allowed Tennessee to win the SEC East.
I don't know about allowed.
Yeah, no, we'll let them have the SEC East. It's okay.
Allowed. Like,
Mhm. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
If you say so.
I hope you're not looking for thank yous.
No, just that's
Let's
you can have your little SEC East crowns.
well, we've got
Okay.
2 of them.
Yeah, it's okay. You can have them.
In 2 years.
Yeah, it's all right.
I mean, it's not like Vanderbilt won anything of note last year. I'm just saying.
Nor did Tennessee. by the
I'm
way.
just, right. So, but I mean, they didn't. Vanderbilt.
Well, you're only going to go back to last year. That's all you're going to do. Forget like the last 10 years with a couple of couple of natties. Anyway,
All I'm saying is, you can have your little East. I'll take my East championships.
as you should, and be happy with it. I would be happy with an East championship.
I mean,
Yep.
championships are championships.
That's right.
And in the SEC, baseball wise,
You gonna put one out on the fence?
As long as
SEC
there,
East crown.
as
I don't
long
know
as there
about
one, as long as there is one to be won,
That's
I
right.
want to win it.
you want it.
So
That's right.
and it's important because you need that going into the SEC tournament and for seeding purposes and all sorts of things. So
Yeah.
Anyway,
They've locked up a number 1 overall seed, right? Don't you think?
I think they've locked up the number
That's
one.
what I mean. Yeah, for
the number
They
one
haven't even
national.
they haven't even locked up the number 1 seed in the SEC yet.
Well, but
They'd have to lose like 4 of the next 6 games and have whoever's in number 2 win.
Arkansas.
Arkansas would have to win 4 of the next 6 games. I don't think it's going to happen.
All right.
But I mean, I think
Yes.
since Oregon State did not overtake them as a number 1 team, ranked team, to me that says Tennessee is pretty untouchable at this point for that particular element
I think it's going to be pretty tough for Tennessee to not be the number one
overall.
national
Yeah. Mhm.
once the field is set. But
We can ask Wes Rucker.
That's true.
I will also tell you that looking at you, 2007 Vanderbilt,
Yeah, it's
number
true.
1 national
No.
seed does not necessarily assure you of anything
Yep.
because
That team
Vandy didn't get off their home field.
That's
that
right.
year.
Not even out of the region.
So
Yeah,
Hey, it happens.
it
does.
absolutely
it
happens.
does.
It's the beauty of the game.
It's a lot of pressure up there at the top.
It is.
No doubt. Let's do a quick hitter and give you today's rundown.
Is the rundown.
All righty, we'll get right into it, gentlemen. We've got high school baseball from yesterday. It was a Beach over Station Camp. 5-3 Hendersonville, 5-0 over Beach. Brentwood 8-6 over Centennial Christian Community, 14-9 over Zion Christian. Clarksville 9-0 over Springfield. Mount Juliet over Cookville 9-4. Dixon County 15-zip over Kenwood. Giles County defeated Summertown yesterday 6-4. It was Grace Christian Franklin 9-4. Green Hill 6-2 over Lebanon. Hampshire 3-2 over Wayne County. Harpeth 8-1 over Sycamore. Henry County 7-6 over Dixon County. Martin Luther King 11-0 over Hume Paul. East Robertson defeated Joe Burns yesterday 4-3. Joe Burns then defeated Trousdale County 16-9. Franklin 12-2 over Overton. Giles County 8-4 over Loretto. Martin Luther King 8-7 over Hillwood. Murfreesboro Central Magnet 18-0 over Hillwood. It was Summit 10-0 over Ravenwood. Richland over Colioca 13-3. Riverdale over Rockvale 9-3. Rossview over Clarksville 13-9. White House Heritage 10-0 over Fairview. All of these are district tournament action. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Softball, I believe the same as well. district tournament.
Yes.
Brentwood over Hillsboro yesterday, 12-2. Centennial 15-0 over John Overton. Clarksville shutting out Rossview. Columbia Academy 4-0 over DCA. Huntland 6-1 over Eagleville. Gallatin 13-4 over Hendersonville. CPA 10-0 over Harpeth Hall. Henry County 15-0 over Kenwood. McGavock 15-0 over Hunters Lane. It was Murfreesboro Central Magnet 16-6 over Hume Fog. Lawrence County defeated Page yesterday 8-5. Columbia down to Ravenwood 9-5. Rockville over Oakland 11-10. Siegel shut out Riverdale. Smyrna over Stewart's Creek 7-4. Stewart's Creek all did defeat, though, Laverne 12-0. Summertown 11-5 over Loretto. Westmoreland 8-1 over Watertown. Zion Christian 17-0 over Clarksville Christian. Boys soccer yesterday. Columbia over Summit 4-2. Hendersonville shut out Gallatin 4-0. Harpeth 7-1 over Hickman County. Independence 1-0 over Nolansville. Laverne over Wilson Central 4-1. Scotts Hill down Loretto 2-1. Murfreesboro Central Magnet 5-2 over Tullahoma. Rockville fell to Oakland 4-1 your final there. Smyrna 5-2 over Cookeville Page 2. Spring Hill 1. Station Camp 3-2 over Beach, and Siegel shutting out Stewart's Creek 3-0. College baseball yesterday, Tennessee over Bellarmine 11-5. Vanderbilt in 11 innings, as just mentioned, 8-7 over Indiana State. MTSU defeated Tennessee Tech, doubled them up 8-4. Lipscomb down Belmont in the Battle of the Boulevard Diamond style, 4-3. Western Kentucky 11-6 over Austin P. In JUCO tournament, Region 7 over in Chattanooga, it was Walter State shutting out Columbia State 8-0, and Columbia State also fell to Dyersburg State 9-1. Does that put them out?
They're
done. Okay. Season over for Columbia State. College softball yesterday, ASUN tournament down in Jacksonville, Florida. It was Jacksonville State 6-5 over Lipscomb.
Walk-off.
And in
Walk-off
JUCO
home run.
Walk-off. There we go. In JUCO softball, today actually, right now, top of the fourth, we got Vol State 1-0 over Chattanooga State.
Let me
Later. Okay, we'll get an update. That game currently going on.
It may not be currently going on, as a matter of fact. It very well may be over.
With the 1-0, if it goes in that matter. So we've got today's schedule. You get back to me if you find a score. I'm sure you will.
4-1 final, Chattanooga
4-1
State
final.
over
Okay.
Vol State.
Chattanooga State came back to win.
That's right.
4 unanswered runs.
There you go.
Chat State. High school baseball today. Again, district tournament action. 4 o'clock, you've got Tullahoma Page, Martin Luther King, and Murfreesboro Central Magnet at 4:30, Centennial and Franklin at 5. Also at 5, Joe Burns, East Robertson, Lawrence County, and Tullahoma. At 6, it'll be Fairview, Harpeth, Green Hill, Lebanon, Loretto, Giles County. And at 7, Centennial, Franklin, Winter versus Brentwood. That's at 7 tonight. And again, that's Franklin Centennial 5 o'clock, so the winner will play a doubleheader. Moore County at Eagleville also playing today. Softball district tournament action. Overton Brentwood at 5. At 5:30, it's Moore County Eagleville. 7, Franklin Centennials. Also, at 5 o'clock, you'll have McGavock Gallatin. Loretto and Giles County scheduled to play today. Harpeth Hall at 4:30 versus St. Cecilia Academy. At 7 tonight, Siegel and Oakland. At 6, Springfield and Clarksville. And at 7, Beach and Station Camp. Boys soccer today on the pitch, White House Heritage and Greenbrier. That'll be tonight, first touch at 7 p.m. College baseball, the Great Midwest Championships up in Mason, Ohio. Trevecca and Kentucky Wesleyan, they will get that thing going around 5 o'clock today. OVC tournament softball down in Oxford, Alabama on ESPN Plus today. Austin P and SIU Edwardsville were underway earlier this afternoon. And in majors today, the Braves, Ian Anderson, tonight, 6:20. First pitch on Valley Sports South against the Red Sox of Boston. NBA Golden State and the Grizzlies. 8:30 tonight. Golden State leads at 3-1. They can clinch tonight. The game is back on Beale Street. And the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Soccer Tournament. Chris will give you a dissertation on what that actually means if you want him to. Atlanta FC and Nashville SC. 7 p.m. tonight. And that is your Wednesday rundown, brought to you by It Can Be You. Just let us know.
Let's talk to Heather Williams on the other side of a break, so stick around. We'll talk NASCAR right after this on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant on the controls. Glad to be with you here on this wild and wacky Wednesday. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot to talk about, as we've got a lot to talk about in the first 10 minutes. So, looking forward to getting to the oval tracks, talk a little NASCAR, as we are joined as we are joined every Wednesday at this time with Heather Williams of WCYB-TV out in Bristol. Heather, what's going on? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you guys? Glad to see Mo back and relaxed from his cruise.
I am relaxed, and I couldn't figure a way to stay gone any longer, so here I be.
You need to read that article about the people who live on the cruise ship. Did you see that? It's a couple who lives on cruise ships because it's cheaper. That's what we're going to do, Heather.
Well, they are retired, I'm sure.
I don't know.
Yeah. So, yeah.
If we can get him to stay longer, he probably would. And I don't know if that'd be great for this show, Heather.
I mean, you got to have the Hall of Famer on the show, right? What's the show?
Yeah,
what's the show without the Hall of Famer?
It's the only value.
Don't answer that.
Just a pair of knuckleheads is all it is.
That's all it would be.
Exactly. I don't know about all that. You guys managed 7 whole days.
6.5 shows.
I wouldn't count that half a show.
It's okay. It worked out. 6.5 shows. We did it. But thank God you're back.
Thank you. It's nice to be appreciated. Maybe you have to leave.
Yeah, you don't know what you got till it's gone.
There you go. Yeah. Heather, what were your thoughts about this past weekend? I saw the highlight coming down the stretch to the checkered, and again, I have to go back to the Kyle Petty situation where he won without being involved in anything. But I've not heard any howling over the late events this past weekend.
Oh, there's plenty of howling. A lot of people are upset.
Okay. I just hadn't heard it. Okay.
what Joey Logano did, but it's kind of funny because that's basically the way that Dale Earnhardt won a lot of his races. I mean, the legendary moment at Bristol, I didn't mean to wreck him. I just meant to rattle his cage, was almost a carbon copy of went on this weekend. So I don't know why NASCAR fans are so upset about what Joey Logano
Yes, you
did,
do.
except for they just don't like Joey Logano, right?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
exactly
basically what
why.
it comes down to.
That's exactly why. That's the ding, ding, ding. There's the answer.
So
Hello.
if Joey Logano had been the bumpy,
Oh, he already had been the bumpy at the hands of Alex Bowman earlier this year. So my question to you, Heather, is did he owe him one?
Well, I mean, NASCAR drivers are, we've said this before, they're like elephants. They never forget. So did he owe him one? Maybe, maybe not. But I mean, the truth of the matter is that that's how you win races right now. These cars are completely equal. They don't pass very well. And some of that is on purpose because fans said they wanted things like the bump and run back in the sport. I mean, people have complained for years now about how Bristol's lost the bump and run. Then we go to Darlington, you get a bump and run, and people are complaining. So
because it wasn't at Bristol.
What's that?
Because it wasn't at Bristol.
No, I think it's just because NASCAR fans like to complain, basically. I mean, they complain about a lot of things, and they say they want things, and then when they get them, they're like, oh, no, we want them back the way they were. And I think that's part of the cat and mouse game that NASCAR is always playing with its fans, is that trying to find what truly makes NASCAR fans happy is more of an enigma than anything else probably in the sport.
Yeah, there is. It's a white whale. There is no such thing as
it's a unicorn
as making NASCAR fans happy with any decision you make. So it's you can please
I thought
half
the
the
finish
people
was
all the
fantastic.
time.
I love that.
I thought it was great. So again, this is what anybody who wants to see good racing is going to want to see. The unfortunate part is he did hit him really hard, but Bowman came out of the gas a little bit. And Logano had a run on him already. And unfortunately,
I don't think that he meant to hit. It was William Byron. I don't think he meant to hit him that hard.
That's what I meant.
I think that they're still trying to figure out how hard you can hit people in these cars, because I actually talked to Joey after Martinsville, and he tried to make a bump and run at Martinsville and didn't hit the car in front of him hard enough. And he said, next time I will hit them harder because they just don't move. So this time he hit them too hard. So it's like finding that balance with his new cars, and what's hard enough and what's too hard is difficult, right? I mean, I really don't think that Joey meant to wreck him. I don't think he meant to hit him that hard. It's just that the last time he tried to move, it didn't work because he didn't hit him hard enough.
And Byron ended up 13th. He went from 1st to 13th because of did he run out of gas? Or was it just a damage?
I think it was just the damage from because they were all coming to the checkered. So, I mean, he just, cars were just passing him by while he's trying to get refired.
And just before that, there was a pretty significant accident that took out quite a few top 10 drivers, including Bubba Wallace, who, if you saw his interview after being taken out, he was incredibly frustrated and he said, I'm just going to ask the racing gods what I've done.
Yeah, I mean,
it just seems like every week he's just very unlucky.
And a lot of things, I would say the majority of things that have happened to him and that team have not been Bubba Wallace's doing, right? He's gotten caught up in accidents. He's gotten caught up in other people's mistakes. He has pit crew go over the wall too soon. He has pit crew make a mistake, with the tire and it comes off. I mean, he's had a lot of things happen to him that haven't been Bubba Wallace. And so, I mean, and plus he has the extra pressure of being Bubba Wallace, right? And every time something happens, he can't drive. He's a 20th place driver, blah, blah, blah. And so the extra pressure of that, I mean, it's been incredibly tough for him. But if you look at the performance between the 23 and the 45, they're pretty similar. They're sitting right next to each other in points, basically. And 2311 is struggling a little bit. Some of it's luck and some of it's just they're not performing as a team, as an organization, and they need to get that figured out.
Yeah, there's no question. Kurt Busch also was involved in that accident. So it was an interesting race, though. I enjoyed watching it. I thought it was a good race. For the most part, there was solid racing, and obviously Ross Chastain wins the second set, and the first lap can't quite get off the restart, and next thing you know, he's sitting behind pit wall. It's again, Darlington is too tough to tame, so you have to really pay attention to what you're doing there.
It's earned its nickname, huh?
No doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I told you last week that I didn't really know with the new car who would perform, but I felt pretty confident it would be someone with a little experience on them. And Joey Logano definitely fits that bill. I mean, he's been around the sport a long time, and those are the kind of drivers that win at Darlington because it is a tough place to race.
No question. Moving to next week, speaking of tough places to race, this is tough to get excited about if you are a NASCAR fan.
Hang on just a second before
Go
we
ahead.
move away from this past weekend. You know, we talked about racing at Bristol on Easter,
Oh, yeah.
and I thought I caught something about this being the first time that NASCAR Cup has
Not the
run on
first time.
Mother's Day in.
They ran last year too, but they've only run 5 times total. Is that
There
right?
we go.
Yeah.
Is it 5 Mother's Days?
Yeah, it's not
So-
very often. And as I said last week with the guys, it's kind of just the way the schedule has fallen. They've run Mother's Day weekend for a while now because the race in Kansas used to be Mother's Day weekend, but it used to be a Saturday night race. So they've run this weekend for a while, but there was a real push to put the racing back in Darlington, get their second date back. And so the way that the schedule has fallen the last few years, it's fallen that this race has ended up on Mother's Day. There's not as many off weekends as there used to be. So Mother's Day's just become a weekend that we race, whether it's Saturday night or on Sunday.
Heather Williams with WCYB-TV out of Bristol with us here on Main Street Sports today. Chris, the floor is yours.
Yeah. Mile and a half's Kansas Speedway, cookie cutter. How do you get excited about this weekend?
Well, it is a cookie cutter track, but let's be honest, these are the kind of tracks you have to be good in if you want to win a championship. There's a lot of mile and a half.
Because there's a lot of them.
Yeah. And then there's a lot of them in the playoffs. This is in the playoffs. I mean, this is where you have to be good if you want to be called NASCAR champion. So I think this will be a really good measuring stick of who and what race teams over the summer and into the championships are really going to be contenders. The guys that, not necessarily the guys that win, but the guys that show up and have speed and are able to compete. Those are the guys you're going to want to keep your eye on as we go through the summer months and see more of these tracks, and then especially in the playoffs.
Yeah. And I guess I should probably be careful calling the mile and a half cookie cutters bad since,
Since the one closest to us
is
it's that
yeah. So
mold.
But the two tracks are completely different.
They're different,
mean-
but it's still it's kind of the same racing, and again, but you have to be good at them.
Yeah, but I think Nashville's actually a lot different than the other mile and a half, mainly because of the surface. Makes
Because it's
you have to,
concrete, yeah.
yeah, you have to approach it completely different than you do Kansas or Vegas or Charlotte or some of these other tracks. So even though they are cookie cutter tracks for sure, they all have their little nuances and race a little bit differently. And I don't think it's fair to particularly put Nashville in that box because it just races completely different than the others. Although one of the things that all the mile and a half tracks do produce or can produce is if there's not a lot of cautions, spread out racing and lots of cars getting lapped because of the speed of those tracks you can get going fast.
Are we hopeful that the car is going to help that, or have we already seen that that's not going to be the case?
I think the car should help as far as, not as many cars getting lapped. I mean, I don't think there were an excessive amount of cars lapped, say at Vegas, but
Right.
It's not going to help as far as cautions go. These cars don't tend to breathe a lot of cautions or long cautions because even if a car wrecks, they don't usually have a ton of damage unless it's just a massive wreck. So the cautions aren't very long. So I think it'll help some, but I think the biggest thing that you'll see is that they'll just be, the top cars will be more competitive. So it's unlikely you would see a car like maybe a Denny Hamlin, who's been out to lunch a few times, get lapped just because the cars are so equal.
Yeah. There you have it. Heather, who's going to win?
All right, so Kansas 1.5 miles. I mean, this is like Kevin Harvick's wheelhouse, right? I mean, he's very good at the 1.5 mile tracks. He desperately needs a win. Stuart Haas needs something positive to happen. Chase Briscoe won in what seems an eternity ago, I think at Phoenix. So they could really use somebody to do well. I think Kevin Harvick's running pretty good, and these are the kind of tracks that he runs really good at. So I'm going to pick Harvick this week.
That's a good choice. All right.
You approve Heather's choice?
I feel like it's solid logic, and it's a good pick. It's a good pick. If you're betting, he's not a bad pick to go with. I can assure you. Heather Williams, WCYB.
Especially since Chris is betting, probably.
There you go. I will tell you, the number 5 car's got to figure it out. I can, and they will. They will eventually. If you bet on the 5 all year long, you're probably going to end up making more money than you don't.
Lose.
But yeah, anyway,
for sure.
Appreciate your time, Heather.
I picked him last week, so
there you go. We will talk to you again next week, and we look forward to talking about hopefully not boring racing.
Hopefully, I mean, I'm hopeful because of what I saw at Vegas. The racing was not boring at all. The finish was fantastic, so I'm hopeful that Kansas will be at least a good race.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's take a quick break, and when we come back, we will talk about the SEC getting the okay to do pod scheduling and when they're going to vote on it, what's going to happen. We'll talk about that coming up in just a moment on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Here we go. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. So somehow, I guess there had to be a rule change that college football teams could go to a pod system because, they had to have a rule change for conferences to split into divisions with 12 teams. So now I guess it appears that 16-team conferences will have 4-team pods. And I'm not sure what that means
What does that mean? Everybody's going to play everybody in their pod every year, and then what?
Didn't even have
2 from each of the other 3 pods to get a 9-game conference
potentially.
schedule?
I think you would probably have your 2 rivals.
You have
You'd
2
have 2
rivals.
instead of 1.
2 rivals from outside your pod.
That's what I think would happen. Yeah.
And then, okay, so you're going to play everybody in your pod. That's 3 games. You're going to play 2 rivals every year. So that's 5.
And you got 1 from each other, 1 from each pod.
So that's 8 games.
That's what the SEC is currently at. I don't know that they're going to go to 9. Would I like for them to go to 9? Would everybody like for them to go to 9? Yes.
I think, well, everybody except those programs that are getting those 6-figure checks
Right.
for showing up and
Sometime-
either being sacrificial lambs or being Georgia State.
Yes, I was going to say UAB, but
Yeah.
that too.
Mhm.
So I'm interested because I don't know how this pod system is going to work long term, and like I said off the air, do we think that the pods are going to stay the pods forever, or would it be beneficial to the SEC to, I guess, change them every so often?
I don't know what you change them to. And I don't know that changing them is a good idea just because, I think SEC football fans are such creatures of habit. You just like to know who's where. I mean, you don't want to get into.
Yeah, but can you imagine the television production if they don't do it geographically, if they just draw them out of a hat, if it's NBA lottery style? Would that not be awesome?
It would be awesome, but the SEC doesn't have to sell itself like that. I don't think.
They've never turned down a buck.
Well, but I think part of the attraction of the SEC is that they have not gotten into that circus stuff. We play football. We don't have to create excitement. Our football is our excitement. But also, I just think geographics makes more sense. It's easier to keep up with. And as I was getting ready to say, you don't want to get into leaders and legends.
No, you don't. But my thought on that is, if you draw it out of a hat, and it's not like these SEC programs need it to be geographically. They're flying wherever they go. They got the
money's no object.
The travel ain't an issue.
But I just think that the possibility of Florida and Missouri being in the same pod is a little ridiculous.
I mean,
you got Florida, you got Missouri, you got Texas, and you got Kentucky in a pod.
but if you draw them out of a hat, can't nobody say nothing.
Somebody will say something. I mean, they're not
Yeah.
going to say it's rigged, but they're going to say how ridiculous it is.
What would you do? A 2-year rotation?
Maybe.
I think you'd have to do a 4-year
4.
rotation.
I think it'd be 4. At least 4, maybe
Yeah.
8.
I think you'd have to do at least a 4-year rotation to play it all the way through.
Yeah, because you'd have to play.
Everybody.
Well, that's just 3 years.
You play everybody in those 2 years, home and home. If they're
I don't think you would play
that
all
pod.
6. I don't think you would play each of your 15 opponents.
No, yeah, you may not get everybody. That's true. Yeah.
So
So
4
I
would
think
make
I
sense.
would
that
think
pod,
you
you
would
get
have
home
to
and
play
home.
it all the way through before you changed it.
Do 4 years, you get 2 home and homes with your pod mates,
Mm-hmm.
if you will.
Pod.
Hey,
Pod
yeah,
mates.
yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting concept, and I'm really curious to see how it's going to play out. They're supposed to vote in the next couple months on. Well, I guess if I had read the schedule or read this story, I did not read the story completely through.
TLDR.
So this once every 12-year approach, we would have turned the page on whether we expanded or not. So maybe that was just about expansion. I did not get a chance to read the story because I just saw it right before we came on the air. But, you know, they've not decided to just do away with divisions, but they have the ability to do pods, and they probably will do pods. So I'm really interested to see how this is going to play out. They are going to vote on it, like I said, in the next couple of months, and we'll find out.
Don't you think the history of what the SEC is kind of being trailblazers in many fashions, that they will go in this direction? Don't you think?
It just means more.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they have to what Mo's point was about that they don't have to buy into the circus, but that does give them flexibility to try things without hurting their brand. So, you know, some may see that as buying into the circus, but I think it allows them the opportunity. Hey, let's try this pot thing. Let's take a chance and be on the cutting edge again, right? And see if it because it does seem to make sense. Especially, I mean, as many teams as you're going to have once Texas and Oklahoma come in.
Other than pods, I'm not sure what else really makes sense.
I know, yeah.
Once you get to 16,
divisions don't.
2 8-team divisions.
I mean,
what you going to do? Play everybody in your division, and then
one crossover, I guess, rivalry every year, and then you have a true. I don't know. I mean, it
doesn't make sense.
You don't play everybody in the cross division once every, I don't know, 14, 16 years. It would take forever.
Yeah,
and that's not what they want.
No,
that's what nobody wants.
Except unless you're one of those teams that doesn't play Alabama, but every 8 years.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, please.
There's that. But yeah, no, you're right. And so pods are probably going to end up what's happening. But I'm more curious about how they do the other part of the scheduling.
The other part.
Will it be a rival? Will it be 2 rivals? Will it be no rivals and you just play
the non-pod?
The non-pod schedule.
That's what I'm more interested in.
Because if it's pods of 4, so you got 3 games in your pod every year.
And you got 3 other pods that you play.
So maybe you do kind of like an NFL model where you have a cross pod. You play those 4 games. There's 7.
And then you play 1 from each of the other 2 pods?
And then maybe a rotator, or you just have a rivalry for that other one. And then every
so then that's
year,
8 games if you do that.
If you do that, that gives you 8 games. And then,
but what happens when your rival
is in your cross
pod?
It's a good question.
They're going to do 9 games. I'm almost certain of it.
You're right, Mo. You almost have to do that rotator because you can't have a rivalry because it will fall into that. But what you get is every 3rd year you're playing everybody.
Within 3 years, you will have
3
played
years
everybody.
because you're playing across pod.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got your pod, and then and then this year you've got a cross pod. Next year you got the second cross pod. The next year you got your 3rd cross pod, and then you start it over again.
Can we clip this segment
and send it
to Greg Sankey?
Yeah,
send
it to Birmingham.
Do that. Well, okay. I'll deliver it when I go down there.
Get you 8 games.
Yeah,
right.
We got you hooked up, Greg.
We got this.
Make that check payable to Main Street Sports today. 4 words. Yeah,
today.
Yeah.
Divisible by 3, by the way.
Hey, whatever it is, it will be divisible by 3. Trust me.
We can break a penny in
I was gonna say, if there's an extra penny, we'll donate it to charity.
There we go. Well done.
Oh, man. Let's take a quick break. It's halftime. We'll be back here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Stick around. Chris Yao, Mo Patton, JP Plant is hitting all the buttons today. Literally all of them, hoping one works.
Everyone.
Trying them all. What does this do? Let's find out.
We'll see what happens. Do we have the voice of the Blue Raiders?
I see him. Let's see if
we can hear him.
If we can hear him. Chip.
Hello.
Hey. America loves an underdog.
They do.
Even if the underdog is a horse.
The underhorse. But always good to see you guys and JP, and glad that we were able, by use of technology, to come right on through loud and clear today.
Isn't it a heck of a thing when it works?
It's beautiful when it works.
We appreciate you, man.
See you guys.
My number one, Los Pollos Hermanos.
Ooh.
Breaking Bad.
Yes.
Gus Fring's chicken joint.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I bet that chicken was good.
I bet that chicken was good. It had a place with meth.
Yeah, I mean, come on.
It's very addicting.
She's coming back for more.
Wow. Remind me to never eat chicken at y'all's house.
Welcome back in. It's halftime. Hey, so normally we try to stay out of sports, but this is kind of it's sports, but it's interesting. I was reading The Athletic earlier, and I found this article about a TikTok guy who identifies the games that are being played in the background of television shows.
This is fascinating. This is great stuff. This would be something I would try to pay attention to.
Please read this story. But the reason I'm bringing it up today is because I'm reading through this story and I get almost to the end. And I mean like almost to the end. And I then read the words, I called up Pete Weber, the Nashville Predators broadcaster who called Buffalo Bison's games from 1983 to 1995, and he confirmed the timeline. I think you nailed it, Weber said. I really do. So I just randomly come across this story and he pops up.
So he just called Pete?
Oh, no, not. So the guy from The Athletic wanted to do a story on the TikTok guy.
Okay.
So when they decided in order to do the story, he just needed to go through the process with it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just so happened that one of the teams involved were the Buffalo Bisons.
Yeah,
And
okay,
so
got you.
the guy calls Pete to figure out if the timeline worked. So anyway, it's a phenomenal story. I'm going to link it on our Twitter at ms_sports today. You should definitely go read it. And follow the guy on TikTok because it really is cool because he will go and detail out how he got to each and every step of the way. Now,
this sounds like it might be worth actually getting on TikTok for. Mo, are you on TikTok?
I am not on TikTok.
I'm not either, but I might have to.
You can follow.
Jump on.
You can watch this guy. You can just go to this story, click on him, and just go through all his stuff. If you don't want to be on TikTok as a whole, so that works out.
Well, I could use something else to occupy my time.
Because you've got so much
of it right now.
Time.
Yeah.
But it is truly remarkable how this process worked. It was really cool. But then again, Pete Weber connection. I'll have to ask him about it on when we have it on the air Friday.
Anytime you can get a Pete Weber mention in something, it's a good thing.
And we will mention him now because we will have him on Friday at 3:00.
Correct.
So Friday, 3:00.
Kind of a bittersweet because if things had gone differently, we might not have had him. Correct.
It's true.
So, but we'll take him. Like I said, anytime you get a Pete Weber reference, it can't be a bad thing.
It's not
at all.
Yep.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, second half on Main Street Sports, represented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, 3-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
We've made it the second half of this hump day. That means the backside of the weekend is here on Main Street Sports today. Coming up, we'll talk with Wes Rucker, 24/7 Sports, out of Knox Vegas. Also, we will have, of course, as always, this day in Braves history coming up in just a few moments, and our Daily Braves segment. And it is Wild and Wacky Wednesday, and the Youster over there has been compiling these over the last 3 weeks that we haven't been able to fit in, Mo. So he is extra
loaded for
zany and wild and wacky. So, on those on the other side of the Duck River, you might want to cross over for today's final segment. So back to the Hall of Famer and the Sundrop Kid, the zany one, Chris Yao.
Welcome back in. It is time to talk, or time to gripe about the Atlanta Braves. That's what we're doing these days. Gripe.
The Daily Gripe Session. Brought to you by
Your Business Here.
Yes.
We get a national sponsor, Gripe Water.
There we go.
The little stuff you give your kid when they're fussy with their babies.
I wouldn't know anything about that, but that's new since my.
It's really just sugar water.
That's new since my babies were babies. So,
Atlanta has yet to win 3 games in a row this season. We're 31 games in. They've not won 3 in a row. They have not started what they would call in Major League a streak. I mean, that's pretty bad. Nonetheless.
But by the way, for some that may be watching and listening, what does classify that per these terms?
What, a winning
streak?
A winning streak
winning
is just
streak.
3 games in a row. It
games.
has happened.
Okay.
But not for the Atlanta Braves,
So
apparently.
2 in a row is a happenstance. 3 in a row, now it's a streak.
2 in a row is 2 in a row.
Yeah. It's just you
That's
got-
the
you got
bad.
lucky.
That's not a streak. Yeah.
So that's called a winning streak. It has
That's
happened.
called
Was
a winning
that
streak.
Bull Durham or was that the Natural?
No, that was in Major League.
Major League. There we
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. There we go.
Just before
Getting
they
my
start.
baseball.
There were
before they
sprinkles
start-
of that in all of those movies,
Yeah.
but the specific one is the
Major
Major League.
League. Okay.
Today, the Atlanta Braves will lead off with Dansby Swanson.
Yeah, because he's not doing anything in the 9 spot, so let's move him up.
Well, I don't really know what else we're going to do because apparently
I know what we should do.
Ronald Acuna Jr. is
Sitting-
favoring his
well,
leg.
he's got some knee soreness, yeah. But here's what we should do. We should lobby for the DH in the professional level to be the same as the DH at the high school level, where it doesn't necessarily have to be
the
for
pitcher?
the pitcher.
That's not a bad idea.
DH for Dansby and let Max hit.
I mean, Ian Anderson is probably
Can't be any worse.
Well, I don't know. 233 is not bad, but especially considering what some other folks are doing. Heck, Dansby's only 400ths of a point behind Austin Riley right now. But that's neither here nor there.
Orlando Arcia in the starting lineup today
As DH,
as a DH.
which is interesting to me. And not that he's DHing, but I'm curious as to why he doesn't DH more often.
Well, I'm curious as to why, if you've got Marcell Ozuna and Orlando Arcia in the lineup, why Ozuna's playing left and Arcia's DHing.
I don't know why you don't just play Arcia in left anyway, anytime that
That he's not playing right?
Well, that Ronald is out.
Yeah. Because clearly DeMeritt is your swing guy at this point.
Yeah. So that's a really good question, but it's
one of many.
There was a tweet that said, Brian Snitker is a good manager, but he makes some decisions that just cannot be defended.
But it's like you said, though. I mean, what you gonna do with him now?
Nothing you can do at this point.
And he's gonna manage the All-Star team in July. I mean, Brian Snitker is a world championship manager. I mean, what if there's
just give it 4 years and he can be like Barry Trotz, I guess. I guess we can not pay him. See if he'll go to New York.
Yes, please.
I don't know.
Yeah. So you got Swanson, Olson, Darno, Riley, Ozuna, and Albies, Duvall, Arcia, and DeMeritt tonight. And like you said, Ian Anderson on the bump.
Austin Riley has struggled a little bit this year, and I'm curious. And I don't know if you saw the retweet that I made last night, but Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, by statistically is the best defender
We've
in
had
Major League Baseball. Statistically, Austin Riley is the worst defender in Major League Baseball, and yet we've seen him make some irrational plays.
I think he's made some. I think Austin Riley's issues have been with the throw. I mean, not with the fielding, right? I mean, when he's made errors, they've been throwing errors. They've not been fielding errors.
Well, he made one mental one last night that cost us.
You were talking about that, and I was otherwise detained, so I was not able to see the game. But, I mean,
he just thought he couldn't turn two and didn't want to give up the run, which is understandable.
So, I mean, that's not a mistake. I mean, he made a judgment. I mean, could he have turned it?
Yes. Yes, they probably would have turned.
But had they not turned it,
why
didn't he go to the plate?
Right. Sure. Absolutely. And then, obviously, a home run.
So did they get the out at the plate?
They did get the out at the plate. So
but
there
it
was
was
two
the
outs.
second out.
Yeah, there were two outs, and
but the bases were still loaded.
The bases were still loaded, and
then
salami.
Devers. Yeah.
So it's just unfortunate. Little things like that have plagued the Braves, and when I say like that, just unlucky.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you've been saying for the last 6 weeks. They've been unlucky, and that's pretty accurate. They've been unlucky.
If you go look at things like if you, and this is what I told JP last week, if you look at things like exit velocity and expected batting average and that sort of thing, those numbers are high. So over 162, those are going to average out.
Mm-hmm.
And folks like the Mets, whose average exit velocity is like 88 miles an hour, that's not gonna play for 162. So
you can't tell Mets fans that though.
That's why, like, Matt Olson is not. He obviously started out blistering hot. He's back up to 270, 13 RBIs, 3 home runs, that sort of thing. But and Ozzie, who has struggled mightily of late for whatever reason. It's going to work itself out because they're hitting the ball hard, and those are going to fall. So it's just unfortunate that it doesn't happen against the 11-19 Red Sox.
Yeah. Yeah. When you come in at 14-16,
you feel like that's a team you should beat most of the time, and then you lose 9-4.
Well, and 9-4 was thanks to Tyler Thornburg not being able to throw a strike in the 9th inning.
Who had been pitching really well up to that point, but...
Well, I mean, you saw 2 pitchers last night who had been pitching pretty well, Kyle Wright being one of them.
It was 6-4 in the 7th inning, and this is what I tweeted. Brian Snitker's casual ability to give up on baseball games is frustrating. I don't know why you're throwing Tyler Thornburg in that situation when you're down 2.
That wasn't who I was expecting to see.
Exactly.
I thought.
And you've got an off day
tomorrow.
Why you not just throw your guys? Throw your guys.
May 11th, 1977, owner Ted Turner takes the Braves' managerial reins as its losing streak sits at 16 entering the day. The streak would extend to 17 under Turner's leadership with a 2-1 loss at Pittsburgh before the National League removed him from the dugout in observance of a rule preventing owner-managers. Dave Bristol returned from a 1-game sabbatical to lead the Braves for the rest of the season. Oh, by the way, Braves won 6-1 the next day under Bristol.
Well, whatever you got to do.
There you go. Just change it up a little bit.
Maybe
somebody should pass this along to Snicker. Change it up a little bit.
Maybe so. Let's take a break. When we come back, Wes Rucker, 24/7 Sports. We'll talk Vol baseball right after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in. It is Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Chris Yow alongside Mo Patton, JP Plant on the controls, coming to you live from Columbia, here in the dimple of the universe in Murray County. Glad to have you guys with us. The Southeastern Conference Baseball Tournament will make its way south on 65 and then west on 459 for about 2.5 miles. and down to the Hoover Metropolitan Stadium in a couple of weeks, where
affectionately known as the Hoover Met.
And hopefully, I guess if we weren't busy that week with Spring Fling, I guess we could hitch a ride with the Dirt King, Bill Marbett, who will certainly be down there. But the number one team in the country will also be down there, hopefully sporting a number one seed. And they got to win a couple games to do that. Joining us now from 24/7 Sports is Wes Rucker to talk a little Tennessee Volunteers baseball after their first series loss and first road series loss since 19, I think. Wes, how's it going, man?
Well, other than the fact that it's Daddy Daycare Day, I'm hanging in there. So got a teething 5-month-old who hopefully the baby Jesus stays asleep for the next few minutes so we can make this work. But yeah,
good luck.
Other than that, doing great. So
If you have to duck out, we understand.
Oh, if he cries, you'll hear him, and then you'll hear the corgi barking to let everyone know that he's awake. And by everyone, I mean me. So yeah, we'll knock on wood.
You and the neighbors.
We'll be all right. Yeah, hopefully.
Oh man, that's good. That's good to hear. Yeah, Tennessee coming off of a series loss to Kentucky bounces back last night with a big win over Bellarmine. Got Georgia this weekend, the second place team in the SEC East. And not an easy series to try and wrap up the number one seed in the SEC West.
Yeah, it's a good series. I mean, Tennessee, it's so hard to go through an entire SEC season and not drop one. I mean, Arkansas did it last year, but it is very, very rare. Tennessee, 13-inning game last week. If that had, ball had been a couple inches the other way, we're probably sitting here talking about Tennessee finding a way to win another series. So they didn't play their best ball. That's going to happen. I don't think there's any reason for alarm bells, though. Baseball is a long season. You're going to have some moments here and there, some blips. I think Tennessee, it was probably the worst weekend that Tennessee played. But I also thought Kentucky played really, really well. Kentucky beat Georgia in a series in that field. The weather was miserable all weekend, and it was pouring down rain, and the guys are cold. You're in the visitors' dugout, nowhere to go. I'm not in the excuse-making business, but I'm not going to make too much of last week either. Now, if they struggle this weekend against Georgia, maybe you're talking about something different. But I think, generally speaking, I think they're fine. I think they could play better, obviously, than they did last weekend. But it's the SEC's a meat grinder, and you're going to lose some, and that's what happened to Tennessee last week.
Wes, anytime I went to Lexington for football, it was cold and wet. I didn't realize it applied to baseball as well, though.
Yeah, it's no matter what sport it is, and God bless them. I have family in Kentucky. My mother's people are Eastern Kentuckians. I'm proud of it. And that it's a beautiful part of the country, the 5 days a year that the sun shines. Other than that, it's rough every time. I don't care what sport Tennessee's playing. I don't care what time of year it is. When Tennessee goes up I-75 a couple hours playing Lexington, the weather sucks. It just does. Sucks out loud. It happens every single time they play in any sport up there, and it's just sort of the way it is.
I don't disagree. Wes Rucker of 24/7 Sports with us here on Main Street Sports today. Despite the series loss, again, as Wes said, not a whole lot of reason to panic for 43-6 overall, 20-4 in SEC play, Tennessee. And you play in this league long enough, you're going to get bit. I mean, the defending national champion is 25-24 overall, 9-15 in league play. I mean, it's an unforgiving league.
Yeah, and there have been times in the past, even in the past couple of decades, where Tennessee would have a couple major leaguers on its team and still not even make it to Hoover. I mean, it's an absolute grind of a league, and I think that puts into perspective what Tennessee's done to this point. I mean, I think in their minds, I don't think they were really thinking about beating that Vanderbilt 26-3 record from a few years ago. But, anytime you can make history, it's a neat thing. And Tennessee it could have done that maybe. It just fell short, kicked the ball at the wrong time against Alabama. Had a tough one there at Kentucky in the weekend, and it's just sort of the way that it's gone. Auburn's a good team and took one from them with a late inning ambush there. And, it's just kind of going 20-4 in this league through the first 8 weeks is remarkable. It's absurd. And the fact that Tennessee's even done this, I mean, think about this. With 6 games left to play in the season, in the SEC season, Tennessee's got a 4-game lead for the overall SEC standings. That's just preposterous. And I know Arkansas and Tennessee haven't played this year, probably the 2 best teams in the league, but still, it's a grind. And the fact that they've gotten to this point, it's pretty remarkable.
No doubt. Wes, as you look at the college baseball landscape, and this 43-6 kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. You wonder what it would take, one, for them to not be the number one national seed come Memorial Day.
Yeah, I think in order to not be the number one overall national seed, they would have to lose, another series here in the final 2 weeks, and then maybe not win any games in Hoover or something like that. If that combination of things happen, because Oregon State's playing well, but I do think half of the polls kind of switching it up and going Oregon State 1, Tennessee 2, maybe not the major polls, but there are 6 polls and half of them went for Oregon State this week. Maybe that's boredom. I don't know what it is. Maybe some were just waiting for Tennessee to drop a series so they could make a move at the top. I don't know. But when you look at it metrically, it's not even close. Tennessee is they did that graph, the D1 stat guys a couple of weeks ago, where they do that chart of, if you're over here to the right and up toward the top, you got the best chance or the best team and the best chance of winning the national championship. And Tennessee was like in the polar right top corner of the map, and every other team was some degree of far away from that. And it's that's what Tennessee has done statistically this season. So, but I will caution everyone, it's been, I think, more than 20 years, maybe 23 years or so since the number one overall national seed has won the College World Series. It's just not something that normally happens. It happens. Teams get hot at the right time. Guys come back healthy. You're set up well for that ballpark in Omaha. It's like you go to Vegas and you get on a heater at the right time. You're going to walk away with everything. And that's sort of what it takes to win that thing. So the best team almost never wins that tournament, but you are at the end of it the national champion. So that's just like in Major League Baseball, right? The team with the best record doesn't win the World Series every single year. It just doesn't happen. So it's
not the best team. It's the best team right then.
Sure. And that's why if you want to be concerned that Tennessee just lost its first series of the season, okay. I never look at any SEC series loss on the road as a disaster. I don't think that's fair. This league's ridiculous. You lose a couple at home. Okay, maybe that's a little bit different, but Lindsey Nelson's kind of become like a little Castle of Grayskull or something. It gets rowdy in there, and it's really hard to beat Tennessee in there. And credit to Auburn and Bama for getting one, because that ain't easy at all. But to your point, you get to the postseason, you just got to win that regional. You got to win 2 of 3 in the supers, and then you got to get hot in Omaha, and you got to have a team built for that ballpark. And people say Tennessee, with all that power, maybe is not built for Omaha, which kind of is like Yellowstone in terms of getting it out of there. It's just a big, big yard. But Tennessee's also pitching in that same ballpark where it hits all those homers, and it's got the best ERA in the country. So, if you were to build a team from scratch and say, I want this team to win the College World Series, it would look like Tennessee's team, because you play mostly really good defense, absolutely elite hitting, absolutely elite starting pitching, and a really, really darn good bullpen with some really good numbers in there too. So they just don't have a lot of missing pieces other than they have a left fielder playing catcher. And so you can run on them. That's their only problem. But you have to really dig deep to find a reason why this is not the best team in the country at this point.
You have to find a way to get Evan Russell on the field, though, right?
You absolutely have to get that bat in the lineup. And Tennessee, it's an interesting story. Tennessee had a couple of other options at catcher that were supposed to come through this year and didn't. The kid, Colton Kessler's his name, was Kentucky's catcher last year. He was going to transfer to Tennessee, and he'd gone through the portal, was going to come to Knoxville. And then he just decided at the last minute, you know what, I'm going to go play pro ball, even though I didn't get drafted. And that guy's a really good catcher. So that was one of the plans. Then a kid from West Virginia, their starting catcher, a guy with a really good bat, he goes in the portal. He actually transfers to Tennessee, and then he decides, you know what, I don't think I want to play baseball anymore. So then Tennessee goes, oh, bleep, and has to figure out, and this is a true story. They tried Evan Russell and Trey Lipscomb at catcher in the fall, and we're like, okay, whoever's better at this, you're going to be the catcher, because that's what the situation is right now, because both your bats have to be in the lineup, and this team needs a catcher. So Evan Russell did it better. So Evan Russell ended up being a catcher. And Evan Russell, when he was a true freshman at Tennessee, a walk-on, he still is a walk-on, actually. He's never cost them a scholarship penny at all. He goes in there, and, yeah, it's amazing. College baseball, 11.7, it's a crime. But you look at it, and he tried to play catcher as a freshman and was so bad at it that Tony Vitello laughed and was like, no, just go to left field. This isn't going to work. And then a few years later, they're like, oh crap, this has to work. And so they find a way to make it work. And, I think some of the pitchers take a little too long on the mound. I don't think all those stolen bases are on him. But yeah, they have a catcher playing left field. And that's the only thing that you look at and go, well, if I get on base, I can run on them.
But you got to get on base, and not easy to do against those 4 starting pitchers or that bullpen. So,
and you feel like Evans probably going to drive in more runs than he's going to let in. So it's
I mean, D1 still ranks him as a top. Yeah, D1 still ranks him as a top 10 catcher, I believe, in the country, even despite some of those defensive numbers. So that tells you with his OPS and all those things, the offensive value. And I love looking at the numbers. I don't know how they compile some of them, if I'm being honest. But you look at those kind of WAR numbers and those things, and he's a net positive for sure. But if you get on base with those pitchers taking too long, you can get a chance to run on them. But yeah, you got to get on base against those pitchers, and they don't walk anybody. So good luck with that.
It's interesting that you say that, because this pitching staff is built for tournament baseball, right? Mm-hmm. You look at most SEC teams have 2 good pitchers, maybe 3 if they're lucky. This team has 5. 5 guys who can go out and give you a decent, 5 innings of starting baseball.
And honestly, I would say it's probably 6, because I would put Xander Sechrist in that group too.
Sure.
He's been their midweek guy, but his numbers are asinine. I mean, he's a lefty who throws 90 miles an hour, but he cuts the ball. He varies his windup. He is kind of tricky to face. He hides the ball from you. So yeah, I mean, they got 4 first round guys who are in that starting rotation. Again, I say 4 guys who will go in the first round in the next 3 years. And those are your 4 guys. And then Cam Sewell, who would start just about anywhere else, through like a 7 or 8 inning, whatever it was, 2-hitter against Florida last year in the tournament. He's there too. He'd start anywhere. And then you look at, I would say that Xander Sechrist is in that group. And then you've got Will Mabry, who maybe could do it. You've got a lot of guys, freshman White Evans, who's got really good stuff. And Vitello swears that Ben Joyce could throw 6-7 innings if he needed to. And so you look at that, and Redmond Walsh's arm just never falls off. He's one of those kind of everyday Eddie Guardado types. You just give him the ball every day and he's all right. He only throws 86 anyway. So just let him go in there and throw it and cut that change in there. But yeah, it's when you look at their numbers pitching wise compared to the rest of the field, and then you consider what ballpark they play in, it's a little bit crazy. I mean, whatever they pay Frank Anderson, he's earned every penny.
Wes Rucker, 24/7 Sports, with us here on Main Street Sports today. Wes, as you talk about UT baseball, this team has been so good, and they've recruited at such a high level, but it's a different thing when you get there. There's a couple of guys that we've not heard a whole lot out of this year from this area. Elijah Pleasant and Christian Scott from the Clarksville area. Where are they right now?
Well, Elijah actually is a kid who's now at Dallas Baptist, and I thought that, but I didn't
realize he had left.
Yeah, because he wanted more of an opportunity in Dallas Baptist, which is, a ranked team, gave him a chance to be in the weekend rotation to open the season, and he still struggled a little bit, which is frustrating for me because 1, Elijah is an awesome kid, and 2, he's got great stuff. He throws a really heavy fastball, a lot of movement for a righty, got good velocity. There is a lot to like about him, and I hope that at some point he gets that thing squared away, because he has an arm that could get him some money playing this game. Are you a major leaguer? I don't know, but he's got a chance with his arm to do some stuff, and I hope that he's able to get it done. Maybe with the COVID year, he could do that next year, hopefully. But Kavares Tears is a kid who I like a lot. Tennessee likes a lot. His offensive pop is pretty ridiculous. Some of his exit velocity numbers in BP and in their scrimmages are really, really good. The problem is, where are you going to play him in this team right now? I mean, Kyle Booker doesn't play every day, and Christian Moore, who might be a first-round pick in a couple years, he doesn't play every day. Blake Burke, who might be a first-round pick in a couple years, he doesn't play every day. So it's kind of like, he's a first baseman, corner outfielder. Where can you get him at bats right now? Seth Stevenson, a guy who could be a 5th or 6th round pick this year, doesn't start every day. And Jared Dickey, when he's healthy, has to be in the lineup. So there's just nowhere to play him. So they said, you know what? We like this kid a lot. Let's redshirt him. Let's make sure he's cool with redshirting. And then let's roll with him for a couple of years after this. You will hear his name in the future, I think. If he sticks with it and, kind of stays on that Trey Lipscomb sort of mindset where I'm going to wait till I get my turn and then I'm going to play. Because Logan Steenstra, another guy on this team, could play anywhere. Doesn't play every day. Hits like 340, elite defender up the middle, 6'5". He doesn't play every day. So it's not an insult. It's kind of like if a guy at Alabama doesn't play as a freshman in football or Georgia right now, you're like, that doesn't mean he sucks. That just means that look at the team. I think Tiers is a name you're going to hear in the future because he's a hard worker. He's got great pop at the plate, and I like him as a prospect.
Wes Rucker, 24/7 Sports, joining us today. Wes, we appreciate your time, man.
Anytime, guys. Anytime.
All right, when we come back, it's Wild and Wacky Wednesday. We give you the weirdest and wildest news from across the world, so stick around. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Yeah, welcome back in to Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. It is Wild and Wacky Wednesday, where we give you the weirdest and wildest news from across the world. Excited to have you guys with us here on this Wednesday edition. And we have a lot of great stuff coming up later this week. We have our normal 2:15 guest on Friday, Jeff Him, and we told you earlier that we have Pete Weber joining us on Friday at 3 o'clock. Tomorrow, a couple of unique guests that we've not had before. One of them on Coach's Corner will be a little homecoming for Randy Kaufman.
Newly named Page girls basketball coach Randy Kaufman, formerly at Riverdale, Dyersburg before that, most recently at Lakeview Christian up in outside of Knoxville.
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah, pretty much. White Pine is the address. It's in Jefferson County, just past Knoxville on 75.
not white pine, but white pine.
White pine.
Because that's how you would say it there.
All right.
Just for those of you who are not from here.
Makes a difference.
And
Christopher Martell.
That's it. Chris Martell.
Author of Tales from the Nashville Predators Locker Room, will be joining us at 3:00 tomorrow to talk Nashville Predators.
We're going to talk, a lot of Nashville Predators.
We're going to talk a little hockey. I mean, we need to figure some things out.
No doubt. Some positive news yesterday as folks were cleaning out their lockers, talking to some media, some positive things come out of it. So I'm looking forward to talking to those two, Chris Martell and to Pete Weber later this week. Let's go to the weirdest and wildest news from across the world, and we will start in Texas. All right.
Texas.
Yes, Texas.
Not Florida man, Texas man.
It's actually Texas woman.
Texas is even better.
$34.99 a woman spent at a Goodwill.
$34.99
on a single product.
Wow.
At Goodwill?
This is what, and it wasn't like furniture. That's what got me. I'm like, there's not a lot of things at Goodwill that cost $34.99.
That aren't furniture.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Well, it happened to be just like a piece of art, like just a statue of a head. Turns out, or a marble bust, if you will. The 52-pound marble bust.
52 pound.
52 pounds of marble for $34.99.
That's pretty good.
Turns out to be a 2,000-year-old Greek artifact.
Hello.
Oh.
Yeah.
Got a bargain.
So this was like let's see. She told CNN that she has been reselling her antique find since 2011. After the transaction, she wanted to do some digging to see if it had any history on it, and boy, did it. Yeah.
Hold on a second. You said did some digging?
I did.
Well done. You earned that. Hey.
And he wasn't even trying. Sometimes the best ones
you're not trying. But yeah, it was housed in a replica of a Pompeii home and was commissioned by King Ludwig of Bavaria. So how about that?
All right.
So what you're telling me is this was worth significantly more than $34.99.
That's exactly what I'm telling you. Yes. I hope she got her $34.99 back at least.
I feel like she did. And then some.
And maybe. Let's stay in Texas.
Why not?
It's big enough. There's plenty of crazy people out there. And from KXAN Television, NBC affiliate out of Port Arthur, Texas, at least someone got their lawn mowed during an April 1st burglary. Have you seen this story?
No.
The Port Arthur Police Department posted about a bizarre incident in their town when apparently they were looking for a suspect who had stolen a lawnmower. But before they stole the lawnmower, they mowed the grass of the person they stole it from.
In hopes that they wouldn't miss it, maybe.
Or at least for a minute.
Yeah, that'll give you a little leeway.
Yeah.
Right?
It's actually pretty genius.
Yeah.
Because I don't look for my lawnmower until
I'm ready to mow.
Use it. So.
Hey, one of the rare times you've got a smart criminal. Right? As opposed to a dumb criminal. Yeah.
He mowed the front and the backyard.
Wow. Okay.
And it just like dragged it by. It's a push mower.
Well, even more so, it makes it less suspicious when you mow, and then at the end of mowing, you just take it with you as if you were the
supposed to be there.
Mowing.
I was mowing. Yeah.
Act like you've been there before.
Boom.
This is. Can we give Marcus Hubbard a little credit here? Let's just give him a little credit because I'm just saying.
Give him a one ding.
He really thought this out.
Yeah.
I
mean, this wasn't a crime of opportunity. He intended to do this. You know what?
I'm still in that guy's mower.
I'm gonna get this mower, but first, I'm going to kind of lay the groundwork here.
Now the only issue is that all that effort to get something like a mower,
a push mower
at that.
I mean, those are what?
Oh, we're not done.
Oh, there's more.
But
he abandoned.
But before you go though, I mean, a push mower is what's a push mower these days? I've not bought one in a while.
They're
Less than
probably
$100.
Not they're about $150 now, a decent one.
Okay. All right.
But
all right.
still,
Okay.
he abandoned it in an alley down the street.
Like the same day?
Yes. I think police were coming. Okay, there's a video of him mowing the yard. So apparently this guy probably had a Ring camera and it said, hey, there's motion outside your house. And he sees a guy mowing the yard. So he waits till the guy finishes, calls police.
Now he's smart.
Smart victims too, on top of everything.
That's right. Wow.
This may be the most
There's a lot of intelligence going on in this.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll wait till they're finished.
So
the yard really needs mowing.
So this dude got arrested for stealing a mower that he didn't even keep.
He has not been arrested yet. There's just a warrant out. He that's why he abandoned the mower so
they
he
had
could
found him. Yeah.
so he could run.
Well, that makes sense as why he abandoned the mower.
Yes, it does.
I mean,
mower would slow you down a little bit.
Especially a push mower.
Who's tried to run? Who's tried to run with a push mower?
Could you imagine it not being a riding mower though, and you're just like leading them on a turtle speed chase?
You know, hey, it worked for the possum.
Put that thing on the rabbit.
Oh goodness! Have you seen? It's something. There's a video of they call it a Canadian car chase, where both the car and the police are like on ice, and
Oh wow!
Just spinning their wheels behind each other. Yeah.
That's such a perfect metaphor for life in so many instances, isn't it?
So good. Well,
spin those wheels.
Spinning those wheels.
We'll just wait. We'll keep these next two for next week because it is time to get out of here on.
Oh, that's it.
Wild and wacky.
Not a moment too soon.
I have a couple good ones, but they can wait because they'll
save.
They'll save. They're
Got some
fine.
shelf life.
They do.
Okay.
So we will come back tomorrow. Gonna be a great show at 2:00, as always, right here on Main Street Media Outlets. We appreciate it.
But by the way, I urge folks to go find our Twitter and check out the new profile pic that Chris has created for us.
I think I probably need to go check out.
Let's go check it out at ms_sports today.
Yeah, and again, I will post that TikTok dude story because it's a great story.
Yep.
So y'all go read it. Pete Weber's mentioned in everything. So we'll be back tomorrow at 2:00. Appreciate you guys hanging out. For JP and Mo, I'm Chris saying have a great day. See you then.